Welcome to today's special episode of Magnolia's webinar series on a very special date with a very special treat for you. Because today we are not only going to look straight on Magnolia, how to produce digital experiences for the web, for your mobile phone and for your tablet. Today we are actually going to have a look on how you can just take this content to real life. We're going to see on how you can actually take content from Magnolia into a digital signage system. So how can you take this content and present it on multiple screens and devices in your store, in your ship, maybe even on a payment terminal? Let's see. And for that, today I have a very special guest with me. So if you introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, of course. I am Janine from Solutas. I am a co-founder of LowCode Show, Digital Signage system with the possibility of AI personalization.
AI personalization. Oh, wait. Okay, that is definitely something completely new, because if I think about most digital signage systems that I have seen, there is for sure no AI or any, what do you need for AI? Context awareness, right? So, I mean, what did you do there?
Yes, so with the AI personalization, you have the possibility to see, for example, what person is watching the screen. Is it one person? Is it a group of persons? Which gender is it? Which age?
With age, really? That's cool.
Yeah, because it really does matter who is watching the screen, because they all want to see something else on the screen. That's because they have different interests.
Of course. Well, that's crazy. So that means you can really just basically track, as you already said, the audience and what age, and then...
So we do not track.
Tracking, because what I just
the system recognizes what person is watching the screen, and then, it shows them what interests they have.
Oh, wow. Okay, I mean, that is really next level, because as I said, the typical digital signage system is not that. It's just more or less your static content on a roll. Okay, that's
exactly.
Okay, cool. And that means in the end, you really have then those different data points, actual audience, and probably, I guess, then also extra data points, like, I guess, whatever. What might that be? Time or?
So it's, time, weekday, holidays, and also you can also see the weather conditions.
Okay, because obviously if there's a rainy Sunday, I have probably very different interests versus on a Monday in the morning. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. That's really something new. I mean, since I haven't seen this yet, that obviously brings up this one question. I mean, what is the trigger for all of that? How did you get actually this idea that more can be achieved with a digital signage solution?
Yes, so it was that my husband and me, we have been in a hotel and we saw a screen, but this screen only showed very static informations, but it did not, it was not really actual. So because, for example, there was written something about a pizza which is served all the time, but there was no pizza. At all time, and yes, we were thinking of how could we do this better.
I see. Yeah. One thing that comes into my mind is what is the trigger? How do you see? How can you, or why should you connect a DXP to a digital signage system? So where's the link? How does it play together?
Yeah. So LowCode Show is the only digital signage solution which provides a native integration to the Magnolia system. So you don't have to change the way you work. You have your system and you can connect it then with your topics you want to show on the screen.
Yeah. And also from my perspective, what I see quite often is if you have one system, okay, but in reality, quite often you have really hundreds of systems distributed in all kind of different buildings and locations. And the typical feedback that we receive is, we're just really working at scale here. It's not about only the content in the digital signage system or only the content in the marketing automation or only the content in the web. It's really just about having this unified content pool and then just pick the right bits and pieces, promotions, offerings, and so on, then just send this out to different channels, like then an AI-powered digital signage solution to deliver all that content context aware. Mm-hmm. Well, that's indeed really, really cool. I mean, if I look at the name of your company, LowCode, if I think about Magnolia's journey when I started, which is in fact over 9 years ago, time flies, everything was just heavy Java focused. So everything had to be done in the backend with Java, and the frontend by itself, that was more or less a second-class citizen. But in the last 3 years, really a lot of things changed. So much more things are done in the front end, so much more power to the front-end devs. And in that wake, we focused a lot on low-code, means all the things that were done otherwise, and all kind of Java controllers and quirky configuration is nowadays done on our side with configuration, no coding anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's really, for us at least, a big boost to actually bring that speed that we have. So what's your take on low code? Why is this also such a big focus on your side?
Yes, so low code enables, as well as me, I am a licensed nurse, so I'm not a developer. I'm like a citizen developer or power user, or how it's called. And even me, it's possible also to manage the system, to create something. And then, for example, for you as a professional developer, it's possible to make much more complicated stuff, as you do in your daily business. With the LowCode Show.
Yeah, perfect. I like that. Yeah. Really good. I would say it's a perfect point where we can actually have a look on how we can basically bridge from actually managing content with Magnolia, with campaigns and everything for the digital world, and then basically how we can access this content and deliver it in a highly personalized, context-aware manner with your solution. And with that, I would say, let's have a look on how all of that works actually. All right, let's go. Let's have a look actually on a full integration with Salesforce, so we can actually see on how we can make the best use of commerce, content, and obviously content in the real world on digital signage systems. I'm just going to log in, and we're going to have a look at the system through the lenses of a typical market here. Therefore, we're just going to ignore everything that we see down here. We're just exclusively going to focus on how I can actually deal with pages for multiple devices, how to deal with assets, how I can actually bring in metadata to enhance categories and just bring data for other channels as well, campaigning. And then we're going to spend some extra time on those inspirations, because those are the ones that we're going to use on our digital signage systems. Let's go. As always, one of the strong points of Magnolia is that once you know one app, what we see here is an app, you're good to go with each and every single app, because always the main pattern is the same. So, what we have here, that is just a standard composable commerce storefront. That means everything that we see here is actually rendered in a React application in a headless manner, in this case hosted by Salesforce. So what we see here, for example, that is a standard teaser. So what we can do is we can just take this teaser and basically edit the content with it. So hello from Switzerland. Magnolia is awesome, that's true. So let's do welcome to our webinar. Okay, cool. So this is how I would change basically the content. We're going to see the change in a second, and also changing assets to assets from Magnolia or another source is extremely easy and simple. All I have to do is just to hit here select, and then I have here full access to the different images that are actually available for an editor. Let's change it. Let's go for that image here, because it's getting cold out there. Perfectly for the actual season. Let's save those changes. Wait, before I change those changes, obviously, I have to select the category for this teaser. So if someone clicks on it, I want to make sure that you actually jump to the right part in the catalog. So in this case, let's go to the men's section, to clothing, and let's just go general to the outwear. That's perfect for us here. Choose. Let's save those changes. And here we are. Now, basically, we just changed in context the actual content that we see here. But since we are also going to speak today about personalization, let me show you something on top of that. So what I have also prepared is I actually created multiple variants of content that is actually going to be delivered to this web page based on different context, date and time, and so on. Therefore, if I look here, then I have here certain campaigns, certain content already prepared. And if I go to, for example, Halloween, then basically I see here extra content that will be available if a user is going to visit that page at a certain point in time. Okay, perfect. So what we see here, that's actually that teaser that we just managed. We have all kind of different elements that can be used straight away. Also kind of important, I can obviously drag and drop those different components to the right position on the website. Another thing, really this microservices architecture and all those things is I can basically tap into whatever service it is. For example, very important in those cases, obviously, tap into products. Therefore, I'm going to hit edit, and then I'm actually in the catalog browse view. That means I have now this clear view on all the different products that are available in our catalog, and I can just pick and choose the matching product. Save changes, and here we go. And obviously think about it, since everything is a service, that also means is that I have obviously always actual pricing, availability, and so on. Okay, since we spoke already quite a bit about AI and having context-aware content delivered, let's have a look here on that piece. So we have here certain products that are automatically recommended. What's happening here? So we're just going to tap into, in this case, an AI recommendation service to basically, based on the context, based on my user journey, based on my interactions, I get the matching, in this case, products for me. So if I want to, for example, just jump to recently viewed and so on, it's as simple as one click, and I can just at any point come up with personalized content. Okay, perfect. So let's continue as we talk about multiple experiences and all kind of contexts. For example, what we have here, that is just an image that comes with hotspots. That means we have then just certain products that are just linked to it. Again, it is just a service, and that data can be used in virtually any context. So in this case, I use this data here on this clickable hotspot image. But obviously, this is data. This is also available on the digital signage system. And then this data can be actually pulled in based on the right context. And as I said, the key is just I have this one hub of all kind of different experiences that can be actually sent to those different channels. Like, for example, a digital signage system that is actually context aware. Okay. Another thing that I'm going to briefly talk about before we just then speak about how I can work on a content pool and just send this over. Campaign management, that is obviously a big topic. So I want to create all kind of different campaigns that run in all kind of different channels. So that means in this case, we have this campaign that is going to be displayed here on this web page, on my landing page. Let's have a look for another case when I just have it then just in some kind of category page. Let's see if I've hit the right spot. Exactly. So in this completely data-driven part, this campaign is actually also taken and placed here. And I said, if you think about that, and that is obviously something that can run on your digital signage system, where if you want to, obviously you can even just extend the scope and come up with all kind of different interactions, like people in front of the screen or even interacting with the screen. That can be everything. Okay, perfect. I mean, if we talk about your typical headless content management, then sometimes you're working like I worked here in this page builder approach. Absolutely. But also quite often actually you work just with certain content chunks from your content pool. And with those, you actually don't care so much if you create them about the actual rendition, because on the website, obviously, it's going to look totally different versus if you have it maybe on your digital signage systems. There, maybe you just take this content and present it in a completely different flavor. So that stuff here is just about the raw content that can be used on the website, the marketing automation, or the digital signage system. Okay, so what do we have here in the end? So we have here a name of that thing, images, and we have obviously product data, all those good things. If I'm going to look here, basically at the data, then let's have a look on, first of all, how it's going to look on the web channel, and then later on how that looks like on the digital signage system and how I can basically access it. If I'm going to go to the website, then we have here that link, inspirations. So let's have a look on what's happening here. So I'm going to hit the inspirations and I'm going to immediately jump to a web page that is in fact powered by those content types. So as we can see here, those headlines, those titles are very comparable, or they're not very comparable. They are exactly those titles coming from that content pool. So yeah, in this case, we just created here a standard page that is just fed by those different entries from our content pool. And if I'm going to click on one of those, then basically I see how that content is automatically applied for certain banners as well as products and so on. And here then we have automatically this direct call to action to actually jump into the catalog and then finally buy it. Okay, so I think we have now quite a good idea how I can actually work in Magnolia, how I can access content, how I can just shape my content for landing pages, how I can bring, for example, certain campaigns straight to, let's say, category pages and so on. That being said, I guess it's a perfect time to actually zoom out, focus actually on your solution, zoom in, and let's have a look on basically how we can basically work with that.
Okay, so here I'm logging in to the LowCode Show. So here we have different projects. And I am going into Beauty Hotel, one project. Configuring it. Here we have locations, are grouping displays together and can store metadata to personalize the stories. Mm-hmm. Then we have the storyboards. Stories are containing one or multiple scenes and can be configured on scene level. Then we have acts. Acts are used to schedule combined storyboards. And here we have devices. So then let's take a look at the main lobby. Mm-hmm. So here we have the screen showed right behind us. And then let's quickly change something to show you. Let's perhaps take a picture from the Magnolia system. Here we have the Salesforce. I take a picture and move it via drag and drop. Mm-hmm. Yes, here it is. In the screen. Cool. Okay, and then let's save. So when it's saved, it comes on the screen. Now, Jan, maybe you want to take a look.
Have a look
at the screen.
Boom, there it is. And we warmly welcome you and wish you a pleasant stay in our house. That's cool, with straight content configured in Magnolia.
Exactly, that's pretty good. Yes. And now let me show you the magic one, where we can prepare several variations. Here we have a variation 1, which is made for one single person with a different photo. And we have a variation 2, which is made for groups with another photo, and where it's written "Ask Us." We have special offers for groups. And then we have here the traits and the segments where you can choose for the scene you want. Mm-hmm. Here it is the group of people which we want to achieve.
Oh, I see. Cool. Well, it's really where the AI comes into play. Basically,
exactly,
just define what's your audience going to be, 1 people, 5 people, age, whatever. And then you just basically going to apply to the experience.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. But can we see that in action?
Okay. Then let's show you something on our variation 1. I changed the picture for Halloween.
Oh, I see.
Submit it. So we have then the pumpkin on the screen, and then I save it. And Jan, maybe you want to take a look at the screen, turn around.
Okay. So
right now.
Okay. And here we go.
I showed you how to add assets from Magnolia DAM into LowCode Show. As you can see, I have changed the view. On the right side, you can see a live preview, and on the left side, the Visual Composer. Let's drag and drop content from the Magnolia Inspiration app into a grid to the screen. I pressed Ctrl S to save the document. I could, however, also use main menu bar. You will see that the preview will automatically reload. I'm adding some animations to our Magnolia content app cards. Let's select an animation when a component is shown. What could we use for the on-exit animation? Let's take this one. I am repeating the steps with the other 2 cards. Obviously, I could use the magic one for each of them to adapt the content to any sensor data. I saved the document to see the changes in the preview window. Sweet, isn't it? Next, I will close this document in order to add a new scene based on a template, and then I will add the second scene to a storyboard. We need to add a page title, Magnolia Salesforce Inspiration, a unique path, and now we choose the lobby screen template. Now we are back in the Visual Composer, and I will drag and drop a inspiration into the empty screen. This is the hero image and description. On this screen, we want to show the hand-picked Salesforce products. Let's change the style to show products. LowCode Show has a connection to Magnolia to read the content app with the Salesforce product references, and a connection to Salesforce directly to resolve them. Now we will add the new scene to the lobby storyboard. You can change additional settings like schedules, animations and durations on scene level, add the storyboard if you like. Oh, there it is. Look at the preview. We talked a lot about AI and personalization. The cool thing about LowCode Show is the personalization engine. You can create segments, a collection of traits, but for now let's create a new trait. We define a title and a unique name. Let's open it. What you see is our rules editor. No worries, before you save it, you can undo and redo your actions. Let's add the first decision container and choose a rule type. For example, a time-date-based rule for repeating dates. You can nest decisions containers for more complex rules. This is how you would do a similar rule like the group of persons we have used before. The property of face detection array is number persons. We take the operator is greater than or equal to 1. Let's switch to the admin console and go to apps. We create a new special title component from scratch. You can define any existing group or a new one. We create a new one. I am adding some basic HTML in the online editor. You can use, of course, VS Code with our CLI if you prefer. Each app is installed globally and you decide on project level the availability. You decide on design system or CSS framework at the beginning and stick to it. Let's try to make the component a little bit nicer. We are creating the component for our screen authors. They should get some flexibility. We do that with dialogs. This is the visual dialog editor. Of course, you can also define them in JSON or YAML if you choose to use the CLI tool. There you can define if the author will see the layout options in the style bar, give them the possibility to add animations or enable freestyle mode for the component. You can write sandbox JavaScript hooks right in the editor. Let me model the dialog. We want the title field to be translatable. I want the screen author to change title sizes based on my definition. This field shall be displayed in the style bar. These are the values for the drop-down. Now we can use simple handlebar syntax to get the data displayed. Not only in the dialog and style bar, I also want to use direct inline editing with these easy datasol attributes. Let's see it in action. There's the new component group with my component. The datasol placeholder for the inline editing is working. And the size dropdown is visible. I can edit the component with the dialog. in the style bar. And inline. Let's adapt the margins so it looks good. Back to the new component and add some addition to the new one. And have you noticed we didn't add any code for the animation or margin adjustment in the component we just developed? It just works like that. Do you feel the magic? Look at our machine translation. Let's say you have a touch-enabled screen and you want to support your customers in Spanish or German. Your scenes can also adapt based on default language in your location. Let's have one more look at the magic one. I want to give you some inspiration on how to change your message subtitle. Just the right amount at the right time to benefit the person looking at your screen. Plus, of course, the super cool detach component feature, which is kinda handy, right? And you have developed that component from scratch. But let's go back to the default version for now. Remember the blue background from the beginning? I want to introduce you quickly to our concept of templates. This is the actual template containing the header and the template container. Let me add a background image component and find a nice picture from our screens. I am searching for a nice sky picture. Now you can see in the preview and in the Visual Composer that all the scenes have a cinematic moving sky background. But hey, you can override it on a scene level and it will transform beautifully in each other. Let's adapt the focal point in the style bar. Let's look at the preview. There it is. Hey Jan, have you noticed the second screen? It's time to go dark. What do you think?
All right, let's check that out.
Lou, have I scared you? Check out our Halloween special.
All right, so I guess we have seen basically what you can do, basically triggering automatically spooky stuff going on, perfectly for Halloween.